Sir, loose from the underground.
Hello and welcome to the Underground. This is the podcast where we talk about the world and how crazy and weird and messed up it is. I'm your host, Duncan Michael McPherson. This is the first time I've ever done a live video, so this is a little new for me. But it's an important day today, and I wanted to talk about something that is really important, which is the Kyle Rittenhouse case. Verdict has been read today, not written. And Kyle Rittenhouse has been deemed not guilty on all counts, including the count that got thrown out earlier, which was the count of possession of a firearm because he's underage, right? Which got thrown out because of like a legal loophole, but whatever. It got thrown out too. I just wanted to comment on this and say that I think this is a good day. If you believe that the world is a mess and that the media is lying to you and that the government is trying to take over things and control things and push their agenda on people more than ever, this is a win today for people like me who think that all those things are happening. So anyway, the one thing that I did want to address, though, that I think is really important and will probably be talked about more in the future, but everybody's kind of focused on the verdict right now alone. But the idea that Facebook and YouTube were censoring people who were supporting Kyle Rittenhouse. I just quickly tried to pull up a few articles here, which I can't show because I don't know how to do that, but I need a tech person or something. Like this first article that comes up when I type in YouTube censors Kyle Rittenhouse supporters or something along those lines. YouTube censored live streams and commentary of several independent legal experts who commented on Kyle Rittenhouse trial just moments after judge dismissed gun charge. So, when YouTube feels like they have the power, they have such arrogance to say, like, we're going to censor people for talking about this case. People who supported Kyle Rittenhouse, people who support Kyle Rittenhouse, they got censored on YouTube, and now he's been found not guilty of any of the charges. So it makes no sense. If he's not guilty, how can you make the decision to censor people before the verdict, right? Like the fact that people were talking about it shouldn't be a problem. But it's only a problem if you have a very specific agenda that you're trying to push. And that's what's been happening on Facebook and YouTube for a long time now. And really all the media, because the mainstream media is much worse than YouTube and Facebook as far as I'm concerned. But it's crazy that how can they say, you can't say that Kyle Rittenhouse is innocent, and then have a jury decide that he is innocent, and then what now? Like, are those people going to get their Facebook back? Is Facebook going to send out an apology to all the people that they censored because they said that Kyle Rittenhouse was innocent? They should, and so should YouTube, but they probably won't, and they'll probably defend it because that's the kind of world that we're living in right now. And I just think it's crazy. The fact that people, got censored and then he gets declared not guilty on all charges, none of the charges stuck, is incredible. I mean, it's incredible that Kyle Rittenhouse even went to trial because he killed criminals. The people that he killed, for one, they were trying to kill him. It was self-defense. The video showed that pretty clearly, that it was self-defense. They're chasing him. One guy hit him with a skateboard. One guy pointed a gun at him, and he shot them. I mean, he's defending his life. We all would agree that that is totally okay. That you're allowed to shoot somebody if you're defending your life. I mean, I think anyway. I don't know. Maybe there's some people who don't believe that, but um, I think most people would agree that that's fine. Um, I forget where I was going with this, but anyway. Oh, what I was going to say is that these people were criminals. The one guy, Joseph Rosenbaum, I think his name is, was a pedophile. He molested 5 kids and other things, not just molest, but he raped a kid. And like Kyle Rittenhouse shot this guy, not for those reasons, but this is the person that the defense was trying to make look like, heroes, which is crazy. Yeah, it's crazy that it even went to trial because it was self-defense very clearly in the video. Right from the very beginning, when I heard about this, I was like, oh man, like, this white supremacist kid shot some people at the Black Lives Matter protests. And then as you started to see the video and learn the details of what happened, I was like, this is crazy that anybody is even talking about this. I mean, it's not crazy that they're talking about it because 3 people got shot, but it was all in self-defense. Like, and what surprised me, because I watch a lot of non-mainstream media, and so when people started talking about this, the people that I listen to, people like Joe Rogan and Ben Shapiro and Brett Weinstein and Steven Crowder. When I watch these people talk about Kyle Rittenhouse, I realized, oh, like there's definitely more to this story. I didn't think that this would actually go to trial because it seemed pretty cut and clear that this was self-defense. And the fact that what I'm learning now is that people didn't know that, one, he killed white people, right? People thought that he was killing, because he was shooting at a Black Lives Matter protest, he was killing black people. He was not. He killed 2 white people and injured a 3rd white person, all of which, not all of which were criminals. I think the guy that he injured didn't have a criminal record, but I'm not sure about that. But the 2 that he actually killed, my understanding is that they both had criminal records. One raped and molested children, 5 different children. That's crazy. That's crazy that, that's what we're talking about and that we're putting this kid on trial. And, the more you learn about the case, the more you see that he was trying to defend these businesses. I think the gun that he brought out there was more of an intimidation thing. I don't think he ever intended to shoot anybody. I mean, he didn't shoot anybody until he was attacked with a skateboard and had a gun pointed at him. I also heard that he had his life threatened by these people. So, I don't think he went there intending to shoot anyone. I think it was a show of force, which a lot of times, having a gun is to just show, to scare people off so you don't have a confrontation, especially a AR-15. So I don't think he intended to shoot anybody when he went there. Kyle Rittenhouse, he showed up and he wanted to scare people away from these businesses and make sure that they didn't destroy these businesses. And maybe it was the wrong thing to do. I don't know. Like, I wouldn't have done it because you're putting yourself in danger. And even if you got a gun, like, just so many things can happen. As soon as you have a gun, you become a target. It just seems like a bad idea. I would never suggest somebody do this. But on the other hand, like, he didn't do anything wrong. And a courtroom decided that he didn't do anything wrong. I think that's like a big win for people who are frustrated with the wokeness of the media and the spin on everything and the way that the mainstream media really tries to control the narrative. It's crazy. What a crazy thing. So, I think the biggest thing is that YouTube and Facebook censored people. That's not the biggest thing, but one of the things that I think needs to be commented on is that Facebook and YouTube censored people who defended Kyle Rittenhouse. And before, they had already made up their minds of what this case was, and now we see that the case is totally different than what they thought. This is a perfect example of why censorship is wrong. That's really the bottom line. Censorship is wrong because you don't know until you know. And to say that, something's wrong and you shouldn't talk about it, something like that especially, before there's all the evidence is out. And we saw the same thing, and I've heard this comparison being made a lot, to Nick Sandmann, who was the Covington Catholic kid who, got in an altercation. He was face to face with an Indigenous man at the March for Life. I don't know if you remember that. He was wearing the MAGA hat. He was totally innocent, and the media crucified him. And the media is starting to do this more and more, it seems like. Or maybe we're just more aware of it. I'm not sure. Maybe they've always been doing stuff like this, because there's been a lot of cases in the past that you can see how the government and the media both have done things that are suspect. We watch documentaries on old stuff that happened and the cover-ups and I watched, there was a new one on Netflix, I think, about 9/11, and just the way that Dick Cheney used 9/11 to enforce these new laws that were ridiculous, and it's evil. It's evil. And to think that only happens, on the right side of things, on the conservative side of things, is what I mean to say, right? Everybody was so mad at Dick Cheney, or is so mad at Dick Cheney and George Bush, and the way that the Iraq War happened and all that stuff. To think that that's only happening one way is crazy, for one, and to think that it's not happening today is also crazy. There's cover-ups and there's things that the media and the government push that are not true. Or they're trying to push a narrative that, they want people to agree with. And the same thing has been happening with COVID. Anyway, I just think, and now we have, it's not just the mainstream media anymore. Now it's, the big tech companies, right? Like Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube are doing this too. And thank goodness that we have things like YouTube and Facebook where we can talk and we don't have to be going, in the olden days, you went through the mainstream media because it was the only way to get your message out to people. And now I can go on Facebook Live and talk, and people can watch, whoever wants to, whoever's entertained by me or whatever. I can talk and share my thoughts freely with whoever wants to listen. Whereas before, that was always limited. And, I think what we're realizing is that with Facebook and YouTube and Twitter and all this, is that's it disappeared for a while, right? And anybody could just say anything. And then, now it's being kind of, there's a stranglehold going on, people just talking openly and being able to have, their thoughts just aired to whoever wants to listen. And I don't know what the right answer is exactly, but I know that when you have the Kyle Rittenhouse case and you have YouTube and Facebook censoring people, I don't know if Twitter did. I didn't hear anything about Twitter, but YouTube and Facebook I did hear censored people that said that Kyle Rittenhouse was innocent, and it turns out he was innocent. It's a lot like the lab leak theory. It's a lot like a lot of things that got censored that now we're like, oh, maybe they were right. And so this Kyle Rittenhouse thing is just this, the same thing where, they're censoring things before all the information is out. And so part of the reason that people talk on YouTube and Facebook and discuss things is because they're trying to figure out what's real and what's not. And I don't know, like it's a new time that we're living in where people can just share openly and anybody can watch and anybody can participate and anybody can comment. And we have to figure out how to do it. But I don't think that censoring people is going to be a good answer, because we're just going to go. What's really happening is I don't know. I compare it to like the record companies, right? The record companies back in the day got to say which artists made it and which didn't. And they got to profit off the ones that did. And they got to suppress the artists that they didn't want out there. And that's really what's, they're trying to do with censoring people about like the Kyle Rittenhouse case or about the lab leak theory. Um, it's it's the same thing. It's just censorship. It's trying to what's the word I'm looking for? I think like it's trying to like bottleneck the information, right? And the people who are allowed to talk and the people who aren't allowed to talk, right? So you can bottleneck it so that only the people that you agree with get to talk. And if everybody kind of agrees, oh, we only want these people, which is what Facebook and YouTube and the mainstream media outlets like NBC, ABC, CBS, all those, they can bottleneck it so that only their opinions get seen. I was watching The View, or I wasn't watching The View. I watched The View because it's garbage. But I was watching, I think it was Breaking Points. They were talking about The View, and they were talking about, they had somebody on who was not vaccinated for her own personal reasons. And she was saying on The View, they asked her about it, which this is the crazy part to me, is they asked her what you think about the vaccine. And she said, the vaccine, you can still spread it with after you get the vaccine, and you can still get COVID. You can still get COVID and you can still spread it after you get the vaccine. And they like shut her down for saying that, which is crazy because those statements are both absolutely true. You can get COVID and you can spread it after you've been vaccinated. That's just a fact that we're living with. I mean, I didn't even think that was like controversial, but they stopped the broadcast and tried to end it with her because they said that we don't want to spread misinformation. Like, that's crazy to me. That's like just facts. She didn't even say anything that was like super controversial. Like, there's super controversial things you can say. She didn't say any of those things, and they still tried to censor her. And what's crazy to me, as somebody who doesn't watch mainstream news really at all, because I think it's just garbage. I think it's always been garbage, and I've never watched it. I'm glad now that I can have alternative options. But what's crazy to me is that someone would just, that there's people out there that just believe all this stuff, right? Like this very woke, very one-sided way of looking at things. They just believe it all and think it's 100% true. And when you try to tell them like that's not true, like that you can get COVID after there's lots of breakthrough cases after you've been vaccinated, and that you can spread the virus after you've been vaccinated, like those are like, I didn't think those were controversial, but they wanted to shut her down and stop the interview because of just saying that. Anyway, I don't remember why I got on this topic, but I think that it's just this whole idea of censorship and stopping people from talking and controlling the narrative was really what it's about. And I don't know, I read a Facebook post today that someone was like, why would the government want to control you? And I just thought that was so naive because, like, obviously it's not just like, I hate using like the government because, like, what does that even mean? But it's just that, like, it's like a game, right? And if you're winning the game, you can control people, you can get your narrative across and stop other people's, right? And so it's crazy to me that people don't even think that the government would want to control people, or that the media would want to control the narrative, or whatever it is. I don't know. I just think it's crazy. But anyway, I just wanted to talk briefly about the Kyle Rittenhouse case. I've been following it. I haven't posted any videos on it because I've had some like technical issues that I have been trying to figure out, which I think I got figured out now. But yeah, I just wanted to comment on the Kyle Rittenhouse case, and that I think it's a victory for people who disagree with what's going on in the world and how, the mainstream media is censoring things. It's really crazy to me. I didn't get to talk about this either, but the jury was following MSNBC, which like it was following the jury. Sorry, the jury wasn't following them. The MSNBC journalists were following the jury, presumably to somehow interfere or take pictures or do something that they weren't supposed to do, and they got kicked out of the courtroom. When mainstream media news outlets, one of the biggest in the world, I mean, if you don't count the independent ones on YouTube that are getting more views, like Joe Rogan and stuff, mainstream media like MSNBC is doing things that are illegal. Like, what's going on in the world? This is crazy. Like, mainstream media shouldn't be trying to influence a jury. That's crazy. It's crazy that they want their narrative so bad. And to be fair to whoever posted that on Facebook, like about controlling people. I don't know if they want to control people. I don't know what the end game is. I'm a little confused at what the real reason behind all this is. Why do you want to control people? There's people who talk about this great reset and all this stuff, and I don't know if that's true. Like, I don't really buy into that big picture stuff, that there's somebody controlling and trying to push an agenda so that they can take over the world. Like, it just sounds like too much like a sci-fi movie or a superhero movie or something. But I don't know why they would do this. Why is this happening now? Why is this so obviously corrupt? Why is the mainstream media so obviously corrupt? Why is the government so clearly pushing certain narratives? I don't know. And I hesitate to buy into like these big conspiracy theories of why it's happening. I think we just have to kind of wait and see and keep pushing back, because and I think that like the Kyle Rittenhouse thing is a good way of pushing back, right? You take things to court that, shouldn't be in court to begin with. Like Kyle Rittenhouse case should not have gone to trial because it was a disaster of a case to begin with. So I think it's a huge win that he was not guilty, and I'm glad that he's not guilty. I'm glad they threw out all of the charges. I do think that I will say this on the other to play devil's advocate to myself. I do think that the gun laws in the States are kind of crazy. I think they go too far. I don't think you should be allowed to walk down the street with an AR-15, although I don't believe that you should be able to riot in the streets and yell defund the police, and the police should just sit back and let these people destroy buildings. I don't think that. They should have sent in the National Guard is what they should have done, and shut that riot down so that the Kyle Rittenhouse thing never happened. But to be fair to like the liberals, like, I don't think you should be able to walk down the street with an AR-15. That's not a good idea. I like that Canada has more strict gun laws. I think we go too far with our gun laws. And, I'm not an expert on guns, so I don't want to comment too much. I'd love to talk to somebody who owns guns and knows the laws and is familiar with that stuff and what their opinion is, because I'm sure that they think that Canada goes too far. I think that yeah, we go a little too far, but the U.S. doesn't quite go far enough. Like walking down the street with an AR-15, a 17-year-old, by the way, walking down the street with an AR-15 is probably a bad idea. Let's be real. We don't want that. But when you're letting people riot in the streets, like, I'm kind of glad that he was allowed to do that, to defend these places, because if you're allowed to riot in the streets and burn down buildings, and the cops are going to do nothing, and the government's not going to send in the National Guard, what other options are there for people who own those businesses, or friends who, people who live in the neighborhood and stuff like that? I think that it's a crazy world that we're living in. It's just crazy. It's crazy that all of that happened. Those riots were not shut down. It's crazy that it took a 17-year-old with an AR-15 to go in and do something about it, and it's wild. I don't know. yeah. Anyway, that's pretty much all I got to say. I just wanted to like comment on. Oh, why are we this way now? Anyway, I just wanted to comment on what I thought about the Kyle Rittenhouse thing, and now I'm sideways and I can't go. What's going on? Turn my phone what way? Any way I turn it, I'm upside down. What is going on? All right. Well, this is why I don't do live videos. We can do it like this. That's fine. It's sideways to me, but it should be upright to other people, I think. Anyway. That's pretty much all I wanted to say about the Kyle Rittenhouse thing. I just think that it's crazy, and the world's crazy, and that's all. That's all. If you're listening, thank you for listening. Hopefully you get a chance to watch this if you didn't get to see it live. Thanks, everybody. Bye. Thanks for listening to The Underground. Please like and subscribe, and share this with your friends. I really enjoy doing this, so please share it with